You know, people have been talking about and asking for a playable Zelda for a long time. Even back in the 2014 announcement trailer for Breath of the Wild, there were people that speculated that the person shown in that trailer wasn't Link, but was in fact Zelda, since he looked a little more effeminate than he usually does. And now for Tears of the Kingdom, we are starting to get the same kinds of speculation and rumors. There's already a lot of gaming websites writing articles on the topic. So today, let's take a look at all the evidence in favor of a playable Zelda, and why I think the possibility is not that far-fetched. First of all, the thing that's cited by all the articles as the premise for their speculation is the fact that the official Nintendo UK Twitter account posted a new picture of Zelda and drew attention to what she has in her hand. The tweet says, "The curious and courageous Princess of Hyrule, Zelda. What's that she's holding in her left hand?" Now, what she's holding is not a Sheikah slate, but it is similar, and it's possible that it would have similar functions. If Zelda was going to be playable, she would definitely need something like a Sheikah slate to be able to keep up with Link. She needs to have a relative equivalent to Link's arm, so she can use similar abilities. So giving her this Zonai slate thing is exactly the kind of thing Nintendo would need to do if they intended to make her playable. Now, all of that makes sense, and the tweet drawing attention to the Zonai slate gives some credence to that idea. But this could just be something that the UK social media manager did on his own. It could just be that he noticed the Zonai slate, and he wanted to draw people's attention to it. After all, the Nintendo of America Twitter account did not post that picture of Zelda, and did not even retweet the UK's tweet. So given that, I was ready to dismiss this whole thing. But then I decided to check out the official Japanese Zelda account to see if they posted anything similar. And sure enough, they did. They did post that same image of Zelda, and if you take the text through Google Translate, they actually posted the same thing. In fact, they posted it 2 days earlier, right after the Nintendo Direct. And at this point, I'm intrigued. That's not nothing. That's Nintendo making sure you notice that Zelda is holding a Sheikah slate equivalent. Okay, now the idea might have your attention. So let's look at some more evidence. What has Nintendo had to say about this? Well, in a 2019 Kotaku interview, Aonuma was asked if Zelda would be playable. His answer was, "I can't tell you." Alone, that answer doesn't give us much to work with. But like I mentioned earlier, this same thing has happened in Breath of the Wild. Aonuma had been asked if Zelda was going to be playable for that game as well. And for that game, Aonuma definitively squashed those rumors. In that interview, he confirmed that those were just rumors, and that Link would be the only main character. Nintendo squashes those rumors in Breath of the Wild, but refuses to do that in Tears of the Kingdom. And instead, in their official marketing, they propagate that rumor by pointing out the Sheikah slate in Zelda's left hand. This puts Eiji Aonuma's ambiguity in a different light. Why is he being coy now? Why does he refuse to confirm whether Zelda will be playable in Tears of the Kingdom, when he did exactly that for his last game? One of the few possibilities I can think of is that there is something to this rumor, and Zelda will be playable to some unknown extent. Many people, myself included, assume that Nintendo is keeping a lot of things under wraps for Tears of the Kingdom. That the trailers we've seen so far are still only the tips of the icebergs. That they don't adequately represent what 6 years of development time could do for a game like Breath of the Wild, and that they must be hiding some big surprises, things that will just really blow us away, the kinds of things that we're just not expecting. And if that's the case, then a playable Zelda fits that criteria precisely. Now, let's look at the evidence in the actual trailers that we've seen. First of all, let me address something. I don't think Zelda is dead in Tears of the Kingdom. I've seen a lot of people theorize that Zelda dies in the first trailer that we saw, where the ground gives way under her and she's seen falling, and that we'll have to collect the 7 tears to bring her back to life, or something like that. I think that's wrong. I don't think that's the case. You see, in the latest trailer, Zelda addresses Link. She talks to him, and she tells him that she's not sure Link will be able to stop him. Him presumably referring to Ganondorf. And then later on in the trailer, she asks someone to lend him your power. Him presumably being Link. My point is, the only way for her to say something like this is if she was alive. They'd need to have encountered Ganondorf, realize the threat he poses, and be able to communicate with Link after those initial events transpired. And if she's dead, she can't really do any of that. Well, normally that would be true, but it is possible that they'll choose to make Zelda a spirit in the same vein as the King of Hyrule was in Breath of the Wild. I actually don't think that they'll do that, but it is a possibility. Alright, that's pretty much all the evidence. Zelda has a Sheikah Slate equivalent that Nintendo went out of their way to draw attention to. They squashed playable Zelda rumors in Breath of the Wild, but they have refused to do that in Tears of the Kingdom, instead propagating those rumors through their social media accounts. And unless Nintendo makes Zelda into a spirit in this new game, she's probably not dead. This evidence is far from definitive, but it's actually a lot better than I thought it would be when I started looking into it. Playable Zelda seems like a real possibility to me. So for this next section, I'm just going to speculate, based on the existing information, how exactly this could play out. First of all, if they're going to add a playable Zelda, they're not going to make her like Link. In Breath of the Wild, one of the reasons Aonuma cited for not including Zelda was because if she was too similar to Link, then what would there be for Link to do? So if included, I suspect that her Zone Isolate abilities will differ from Link's ARM abilities. And maybe even the area she gets to explore in is different from the area that Link gets to explore in. In that tweet, Zelda is holding a torch and looking up and around. Maybe after the encounter with Ganondorf, when Zelda falls, she gets stuck underground. In the trailer, there seems to be this underground area, and we have yet to see Link explore any of these underground areas. You do see him in a cave with a Hinox, but we haven't seen him in what I assume is this large underground biome area. We've seen him in the Sky Islands, and we've seen him in Hyrule. So maybe this means that after the two get separated, Zelda starts off underground, and Link starts off in the sky. There is a scene where Link is examining his arm, like he's never seen it before, suggesting that Link's tutorial Great Plateau area will be in the sky this time. I think it's even possible that these underground areas will be inaccessible to Link, and Zelda will need to explore the underground, and maybe even activate things that will affect Hyrule and the Sky Islands. Now, obviously, this is all highly speculative, but the more I think about it, the more I kind of like the idea. I've always been in the I don't really care if Zelda gets introduced to the game camp. In fact, if anything, I kind of didn't want her to be a playable character. But I like the idea of them being separated with Zelda underground and Link in the sky, and them working together to try and get back with each other. And it would definitely be a huge surprise if something like that gets revealed. But what do you think? Do you think that Zelda's going to be playable? And if she is playable, how do you think they'll go about making that work? Let me know in the comments. And as always, thank you very much for watching.